This is a Dynamite Network podcast.
Hi, Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to the Dynamic Duel podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Johnny DC.
And I'm his twin brother, Marvelous Joe. Happy holidays.
And in this Christmas charity duel episode, we are going to find out who is going to win between Batman's dog, Ace the Bat-Hound, and Deadpool's dog, or just another version of Deadpool, but it's Dogpool.
You could definitely call him Deadpool's dog. He definitely belongs to the Deadpool core. But yeah, we call this a charity duel because we are bringing attention to a charity that we donate to every year. This year it's going to be Stand Up to Cancer Guys. And the way you could help us donate is by making a purchase at our shop at dynamicduel.com and clicking the store link at the top of the nav. We're donating 10% of all the proceeds from the months of November and December to Stand Up to Cancer. So if you can, please support our show and support a great cause.
Yeah, usually this time of year when we do our charity episode, we typically pit animals against each other. Last year, of course, we did Alfred versus Jarvis, but in previous charity duels, we've pit characters like Rocket Raccoon and the Green Lantern Chip against each other, as well as Crypto and Throg.
Yeah, we did Howard the Duck versus Detective Chimp. I know we did Hit Monkey versus Gleek, the Wonder Monkey.
Yeah, we did What's It versus Spider-Ham. That was a fun one.
What else have we done?
We've literally done one each year that this podcast has been around since 2016. There's a lot of them. Definitely check them out.
Yeah, before we get into that duel, we're going to break down the latest comic book movie news to come out this past week, including the Muthafuggin Superman official teaser trailer.
It's dope! We're going to talk about how dope it is later on. As always, we list our segment times in our episode description, so feel free to check out the show notes if you want to skip ahead to a particular topic. Our artificially intelligent duel simulator, AJ9K, has a quick message for our listeners, so listen up.
Why, hello there. Do you want even more from this podcast? Then become a part of the Dynamic Duel community on Patreon, where you can choose from 3 tiers. The Dynamic 2.0 tier gives you access to our Discord chat server, the Fantastic 4 tier gives you 2 bonus episodes each month, and the X-Force tier makes you an executive producer of this show. Lastly, the Dynamite Podcast Network tier lets you create your own podcast using this Monte Carlo simulator. Johnny and Joe will help you develop your show, provide graphic support and consultation, and get you simulation results. Pitch the twins your ideas via email at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com. Check it out at patreon.com/dynamicduel. Pip pip cheerio.
Thanks, AJ9K, and thanks to everyone who supports the podcast.
A huge thank you to our new executive producer, Oscar Galvez. Oscar, thanks for being a patron, and we look forward to your input in determining the content of this show.
Yes, Oscar, thank you very much. Guys, be sure to tune into the other shows in the Dynamite Podcast Network this week, including Max Destruction, which pits your favorite action heroes from film and television against each other. This week, hosts Scotty and Gilly are releasing their Kraven vs. Predator episode, just in time for Christmas.
On the Senjo World podcast, host Zachary Hepburn speculates on fights between fan-favorite anime and manga characters. This Thursday, Zach will reveal who would win in a fight between Shinra from Fire Force and Najima from Medica Box. And I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Medica Box?
My dick in a box? On the Console Combat podcast, hosts John and Dean simulate battles between popular video game characters. In yesterday's episode, though, they reviewed Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Visit dynamicpodcasts.com or click the link in our show notes to listen to all the shows in the Dynamite Podcast Network. But with that out of the way,
quick to the No Prize!
A No Prize is an award Marvel used to give out to fans. Our version, the Dynamic Duel No Prize, is a digital award we post on Instagram for the person that we feel gave the best answer to our question of the week. Last week, we asked, if Avengers Doomsday is featuring an evil version of the Earth's mightiest heroes, what evil version of a character do you most hope to see and why? And this was coming off the news that Chris Evans is confirmed to be joining the cast of Avengers Doomsday alongside Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, as we've discussed before. So the prevailing theory among fans is that they're going to go a Dark Avengers route where we see like Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom and Chris Evans as an evil version of Captain America. We got 3 answers. So let's go ahead and run down our 2 honorable mentions as well as the no prize winner.
Our first honorable mention goes to Kyle, who said,
"Hi guys, the evil version of a character that I most want to see in Avengers Doomsday probably has to be Captain Hydra, because I think it is a really interesting idea to have Captain America being controlled by Hydra and going against everything that we think the character stands for. So I think that would be pretty cool."
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I think the prevailing theory for the evil version of Captain America would be Hydra Cap, the most prominent and recent example of an evil version of Captain America.
Yeah, I remember when that comic came out and everybody hated it.
To be fair, it was pretty jarring. It was a jarring story. Do you think Chris Evans could pull off an evil Captain America, Hydra Cap?
I think an actor like him is up for the challenge, absolutely.
Yeah, it would definitely be a different take on a character that he's nearly exhausted on screen.
And that may be what attracted him to the role in the first place.
We'll see. But great answer, Kyle. Our next honorable mention goes to Brandon Estergard, who said,
"If they are going to do an evil version of the Avengers in the next movie, I definitely want to see an evil version of Scott Lang. I think it would be kind of interesting seeing like one of the most positive characters in the universe basically be complete opposite and flipped. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall there being an evil version of Scott Lang from the comics, but there was an evil Ant-Man named Eric O'Grady, who was an Irish SHIELD agent who stole one of Hank Pym's Ant-Man suits and then used it to like stalk women and stuff like that. He was a fucking asshole. And I think it would actually be kind of funny to see Paul Rudd pull off that type of role.
Actually, I think I would be more interested in seeing an evil version of Hank Pym, maybe like fused with Ultron. That'd be wild.
Well, that would be Michael Douglas in the role.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. I'd rather see an evil Paul Rudd just because I think there's a whimsy to that, like a kind of lightheartedness. I don't need them necessarily to go as dark with the character of Ant-Man because Ant-Man is so beloved, you know? I think it would be weird considering the tone of the Ant-Man franchise to go fully evil. I think it would be better to see Paul Rudd as like an Irish hooligan kind of thing.
That sounds awful. Do not like that take.
Great answer, Brandon. We want to give a quick shout out to Alex, who called to tell us about the data that he's been compiling about all of our duels. Thank you very much for reaching out. But the winner of this week's No Prize goes to Mike Williams, who said,
"Hi guys, Mike Williams here. Instead of going in the direction of darkest version of the Avengers, I'd like to see them introduce the Squadron Supreme or maybe even Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers. Give them some good antagonists to fight against instead of turning the regular Avengers into their dark versions. Anyway, that's my opinion."
I think that's a great opinion. I didn't even think about that. A lot of the prevailing ideas out there are about the Dark Avengers, considering Chris Evans' return. But what if he's not playing a dark version of Captain America? What if he's playing a dark version of Superman himself, Hyperion, the Marvel Comics character?
I would be really surprised if they're going that route, considering the fact that they're going to have the Sentry in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie, who's already kind of like a dark-ish version of Superman. Plus, we had Icarus in Eternals, who was like an evil Superman. I don't know if they would retread that water, although it is intriguing to me that Chris Evans would not be playing a version of Captain America. They could go that route. He could literally be anyone, considering that it's not like RDJ is playing Tony Stark.
That's true. That's very valid. At the end of the day, we have no idea where they're going with the plot for Avengers Doomsday, but I'm highly anticipating the reveal of who Chris Evans will be playing.
If they do bring in Squadron Supreme, not gonna lie, at this point, I would not hate it if they brought in Zack Snyder's Justice League cast.
Henry Cavill as Hyperion.
And Ben Affleck as Nighthawk, and Gal Gadot as Power Princess.
That would be awesome.
Even get Ezra Miller in there.
It would be the Marvel and DC movie that we'll never get.
Exactly.
So congrats to Mike Williams for winning this week's No Prize. If you, the listener, want a shot at winning your own No Prize, stay tuned to later on this episode when we'll be asking another question of the week. And now that that's done,
on to the news. Okay, so this past week, Warner Brothers unveiled the first official teaser trailer for the first official movie within the new DC universe, Superman. Now, there has probably not been a trailer that I have been more looking forward to and most apprehensive about in the 8 years that we've been doing this podcast, because it was going to set the tone for a film that was likely going to set the tone for the rest of DC's films going forward. I really did not have too many expectations for this trailer. There was nothing really specific that I wanted to see except for maybe Superman flying, but I was hoping that it was going to capture a specific tone that I think a lot of people complained that the Snyder films did not have, and that was one of hope. So in that regard, when I finished watching this trailer for the first time, I was unbelievably happy. And I still am. I love this trailer. I love the precedent that it's setting for James Gunn's universe as a whole. I always knew he was a really talented filmmaker, particularly when it comes to story and heartfelt stories at that, considering what he did in the Marvel universe with the Guardians of the Galaxy films. It looks to me initially that he really gets the character, and I think he's going to give us a version of the character that we haven't seen in a really long time.
So in what way does this new teaser trailer evoke the theme of hope to you that the previous franchise did not?
Well, I didn't know that the previous franchises were not necessarily going to inspire hope, as it were. I think the first 2 acts of Man of Steel were really good. I know Zack Snyder lost a lot of people with the whole neck snap thing. I'd be really surprised if they did anything like that in this film, especially considering that James Gunn and Peter Safran, the heads of DC, have been talking about how nice of a guy this Superman is. But, even more than that, it definitely looks like we're getting a Superman that is different from previous versions in that, hey, the guy can bleed. He's not this unrelatable figure that's invulnerable and everything comes so easy to him because he's so powerful. From the opening shot of this trailer, we see him broken and bleeding. And this isn't something we ever saw from Henry Cavill's Superman, really, even when he was, being killed by Doomsday or being beaten up by Batman. Just hearing him breathing in this opening scene was pretty powerful, I thought. And to have that juxtaposed with the shots of him as Clark Kent, whether it's in Metropolis at the Daily Planet or on the Smallville farm with his father, it just gave this very human feeling to him. And he's definitely approaching Clark Kent differently from his Superman, which is something that Henry Cavill never did. And I know that was another big criticism of his performance.
If we're comparing Corn Sweat to Cavill, I will say that my big impression from this teaser was that Corn Sweat doesn't have nearly the presence that Cavill does. And I think general audiences are going to take note.
Define presence.
Well, Corn Sweat definitely seems much more human. Like, I think you were talking about how he seems much more vulnerable. That's definitely the case. He seems less iconic than the icon that is Superman. And so therefore it kind of feels like he seems like a lesser Superman, you could say, than Cavill's very, strong, striking image that you see when you see Cavill in the suit.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think Zack Snyder's and Henry Cavill's Superman was very much this like supermodel bodybuilder type Superman, whereas David Corn Sweat is not that. Although apparently he's taller and heavier than Henry Cavill was when he played Superman, which is wild to me.
Yeah, the dude's suit is doing him no favors, though. I'll say that.
It looks like pajamas. What's interesting was that James Gunn revealed recently that his take on the suit was heavily inspired by comments made by David Corn Sweat about wanting to appeal to younger, not even audiences, but just in-world younger, smaller children, because he didn't want to scare them with all of his power and strength. He wanted to look like a classic wrestler of sorts, even, having the trunks on the outside. And I actually liked that approach. I liked that they took that approach with this version of the suit. Seeing it in live action, I still think it works. I thought it looked great in the set photos. I know there's still some people who have a problem with it, but I am not one of those people.
I mean, it moves well. And the action shots, when you see him saving the girl from the explosion, or you see him punching his way out of that glass cube, yeah, it all looks great.
Oh, yeah, totally. You know what? One thing we haven't really seen in a Superman from the past was dynamic hair. And I didn't realize until this trailer how much that lends to like the speed and movement of the character, whether he's flying through the sky, whether he's saving that young girl. It's like all the other Supermen have had their hair like hairsprayed and plastered to their head, just like a ton of super gel, apparently. Not so with David Cornsweet. Even when he was Clark Kent, I thought it was going to look so much worse than it actually did when it was being filmed.
Nah, I don't like his look as Clark Kent at all.
No, I thought he was perfect as Clark Kent. Even when he was like looking back at like Lois and then quickly looked away, it was a take on Clark Kent that we haven't seen on screen in a while, and I loved it. And you know what else I loved? The look of Krypto. I am so excited that Krypto is in this movie. Of course, we saw Krypto in the League of Super Pets animated film, but he looks so much cuter here. I just love the little guy. I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah, in League of Super Pets, he was like a white golden lab.
Something like that. Maybe.
But here, I don't know what he looks like.
He looks like a scraggly white mutt.
Yeah, almost like a terrier type look. Definitely not a purebred, but, you know, he's pure white. He looks fantastic.
I can't tell you how excited I got when Superman started whistling, because I knew Krypto was in the movie. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a shot of him in this trailer. When he was whistling, I was like, oh shit, he's calling Krypto. And then just to see him running through the snow, it was super cute. I loved it. There's a lot of endearing things about Superman in this movie, almost like in a tricky kind of way, because, you know, in film, there's ways to kind of cheat the audience so that it likes characters that aren't necessarily likable. Now, Superman's a likable character, but when you add things like, oh, he has a dog, and oh, he's saving children, and stuff like that, it just endears him to the audience even more. They're really trying to appeal to the audiences with this teaser trailer right out the bat.
Well, I mean, that's what the character Superman is all about. He saves cats from trees. He saves children. He's the nice guy.
Yeah. And dude, oh man, my favorite part of the trailer, the one that literally had my eyes watering, was when the little boy in that foreign conflict was raising the Superman flag and calling on Superman. Oh man, that was a great scene. I don't know why that impacted me so much, but it did. I loved it. The idea that this is a Superman that little kids would call to. And you sort of got a little bit of that with Zack Snyder in Mexico saving kids from a burning building. But that felt a little bit more weird because Zack Snyder played it up as like almost worship. Here, this doesn't seem to be the case. The little kid just needs a hero. We, of course, get to see a lot of other side characters besides Krypto in this trailer, including Lex Luthor, including Lois Lane, played by Nicholas Hoult and Rachel Brosnahan, respectively. And they look like they're going to crush it. Like literally the best versions of Lex Luthor and Lois Lane that we've seen on screen, in my opinion.
And I really liked Kevin Spacey's look for Lex Luthor, but his plan was stupid. I'm hoping that Nicholas Hoult crushes it, though.
He just looks like an angry dude. His like sharp features as well, I think, lend themselves pretty good to a character like Lex Luthor, who started off as like this mad scientist type villain, and I guess still is.
What do you think of the other heroes in this teaser? The Terrifics, like Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Metamorpho.
Metamorpho was strange. I didn't even realize that was Metamorpho until like the third time I watched this trailer, like the third of 100 times that I've watched this trailer. Hawkgirl looks awesome. So does Mr. Terrific. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner looks pretty silly. I think he looks worse actually being filmed than he did in the set photos. I thought he actually looked cool in those, but he looks really goofy here. But I guess Guy Gardner is supposed to. What was more interesting to me in this trailer was that they showed Superman in Stag Industries. I almost wonder if the Terrifics are affiliated with Stag Industries somehow. I don't even know if they're called the Terrifics. They might be the Justice League. We don't know. I do have to say I was excited to see not only the crystalline structure of the Fortress of Solitude, because that's another thing that I've been missing for a while, but also the number of kaiju that apparently attack Metropolis in this movie. There's the giant dragon, there's the giant eyeball, something's knocking over a huge building. I have this theory so far, because we don't know anything about the story, but my guess is actually that maybe Lex Luthor breaks into the Fortress of Solitude and unleashes Superman's like alien zoo, and the monsters just attack Metropolis, and that's why people seem to hate Superman and are throwing cans at his head and stuff like that.
It's not a bad theory.
It's probably wrong, but I wouldn't hate that idea. The floating laser eye does still strike me as interesting. This is something we saw in the very first official image released of David Cornsweet in the Superman suit when he's putting on his boots. He still does not seem to be terribly concerned by the floating eyeball in the sky, lasering buildings, and I'm not sure why.
Sometimes you just got to make out with your girlfriend before you can go save the day.
Priorities. Gotta have them. Like I said at the beginning of this discussion, overall, this trailer has me really looking forward to not only this next Superman film, which I think James Gunn is going to crush, but also the upcoming DCU. It's weird that this trailer is about a character who's supposed to inspire hope, and I feel like I have more hope now than I've had in a really long time.
As a DC fan?
Yes, because, with the whole Snyderverse debacle thing with the Justice League film, since Joss Whedon took that over and just with all the studio interference, it feels like we haven't really had a good, clear direction for Superman on film, which we absolutely should because he's the flagship character of DC. And I'm pretty confident that now we do.
My impression from this teaser is that this Superman movie is going to be the Spider-Man Homecoming for the DC universe that movie was for the Marvel universe. I think the comparisons that were made between Spider-Man Homecoming and the Amazing Spider-Man franchise will be the same ones that are made between this new Superman franchise and the Man of Steel franchise. There are still a lot of fans out there of Andrew Garfield, and in many ways, yeah, he looks and acts a lot more like the comic book version of Peter Parker than Tom Holland does. But the Spider-Man Home franchise was exactly what the MCU needed. It's exactly what the cinematic character of Spider-Man needed to be at the time. It was still a taste of the familiar. It was like the second time that the franchise had been rebooted within the decade, but audiences didn't mind that as much because the fans were finally getting what they wanted.
Yeah, and it's like Homecoming wasn't an origin story in the same way that the Superman movie is not going to be an origin story, allegedly. Although it does look like this may be the time when Lois Lane learns that Clark Kent is Superman because we see her kissing both in this trailer. So it's still exciting. Again, I love this trailer, and I'm really curious to hear how much you guys loved this trailer, and that brings us to our question of the week.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited has this teaser trailer made you for James Gunn's DCU, and why?
Yeah, why is it 10? Record your answer at dynamicduel.com by clicking on the red microphone button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, which will prompt you to leave us a voicemail. Your message could be up to 30 seconds long, and don't forget to leave your name in case we include you on the podcast. We'll pick our favorite answer and award that person a Dynamic Duel No Prize that we'll post to Instagram. Be sure to answer before December 28th. But that does it for the news for this episode. Now let's move on to the main event, where we find out who will win in a showdown between Batman's dog, Ace the Bat-Hound, and Deadpool's dog, Dogpool. All right, Ace the Bat-Hound versus Dogpool. Of course, we saw Dogpool earlier this year in the Deadpool and Wolverine film, and we saw Ace actually last year in the Super Pets film. Although Ace is very different in the comics than he was in that movie.
Yeah, there have been a lot of different versions of Ace the Bat-Hound, which makes me think that Ace keeps dying and then Batman keeps getting a new dog and calling him Ace. Because there's been an English Mastiff version of Ace, a Doberman Pinscher version of Ace, a Great Dane version of Ace, a German Shepherd version of Ace, like a lot of fucking aces.
Hey, man, there's 4 aces in a deck. It's all right.
Whereas Dogpool, I guess his breed has somewhat changed during the course of the comics too. Or maybe it hasn't changed, he's just gotten less mangy looking, because when he first came out in the comics, the dog looked freaking weird, man. He looked like a mangy brown mutt, and in the comics now, he's a little bit more clean cut. Although in the movie, he was a Mexican hairless dog, which I don't know why they did that, but I guess it made sense for the film.
And that hasn't made its way into the comics?
Oh no, MCU version of Dogpool has definitely made his way into the Dogpool comics, just due to the fourth wall breaking nature of the Dogpool comics. And yeah, they've teamed up and fought, but yeah, the MCU version of Dogpool is a separate entity than the comic book version of Dogpool. So if you're picturing this character in your head, Don't picture the Mexican hairless dog. Just picture a brown mangy mutt who looks like he's been hit by a car, but wearing a Deadpool outfit. Here's the thing, though, Jonathan. When we speculate on how this fight would go, do you really want to talk about how these dogs would essentially tear each other apart like in an actual dogfight?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't want to either. So the way we're going to approach this duel is a little bit different just for the purpose of not looking like animal cruelty assholes. Instead of a fight, these dogs are going to go head-to-head against each other in a holiday dog show. And we have judges on standby to judge both of these dogs in their respective stat categories. And they're going to be competing in events, showing off their skills. And I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, but of course the winner is still going to be determined by simulations, so to explain our methodology behind our duels, let's go to our sentient duel simulator, Alfred Jarvis 9000. AJ9K, tell our listeners how you go about determining a winner in our duel matchups.
Yes, of course, sir. The way I determine a winner between the contestants is by running 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations using the character's statistics. A Monte Carlo simulation is a probabilistic model used to determine outcomes through random sampling. In this case, I randomize the statistics along a normal distribution as a way to simulate the many variables that can occur during battle. The stat parameters are based on the official Marvel power grid from which the DC character's statistics are extrapolated. Additional stat categories are included such as range, damage potential, versatility, and perception in order to create a more detailed and accurate simulation. The results of the 1,000 simulations provide a percentage of wins for each character. The contestant with the higher percentage is declared the victor, as they have a higher probability to win any given battle. In an equitable pairing, neither character should win 100% of the matches. The comic book stories have shown that there's even a way for Batman to defeat Superman, so the confidence rate of my method falls in line with the precedents that have been established in the source material. My mathematical simulations are without subjectivity or bias. Feats are not the sole consideration, nor are fan votes tabulated for determination of the winner.
Thanks, AJ9K. Before we run the simulations, though, we like to break down each character's histories and abilities before improvising a scenario on how we imagine one of the 1,000 simulations would play out beat for beat.
And it's my turn to go first with the DC character, so let me tell you all about Ace the Bat-Hound. Now, Ace began as a German Shepherd belonging to an engraver named John Wilker. When Wilker was kidnapped by a gang of counterfeiters, Ace escaped captivity and was found by Batman and Robin. After posting numerous lost dog signs around town with his contact info, Bruce Wayne decided to fashion a simple hooded mask to hide Ace's identity so that no one would connect the dog to Batman when he used Ace to help find Wilker. Using Ace's keen sense of smell, Batman and Robin tracked down the dog's owner and apprehended the gang. Ace earned the nickname Bat-Hound after helping capture one of the criminals. You can learn more about Batman and Robin in our Batman vs. Moon Knight and Nightwing vs. Daredevil duel episodes. Though initially returned to Wilker, Ace's owner later took a job that made caring for the dog impossible, leaving Ace in Bruce Wayne's custody. Unaware of Bruce's secret identity, Wilker assumed Ace had simply found a good home. Ace became a loyal ally to Batman and Robin, assisting them on cases and even being equipped with a radio collar for tracking. While initially trained for crime fighting, Ace also provided Bruce Wayne companionship during difficult times. However, Ace eventually faded from active use as Batman focused on other methods to combat crime. Ace re-emerged years later as a large mastiff, adopted by Bruce Wayne after the dog's original owner, a blind Native American man named Black Wolf, passed away. This Ace was fiercely loyal, remaining in the Batcave alongside Harold, Bruce Wayne's mute genius mechanic. During the time when Jean-Paul Valley, aka Azrael, temporarily replaced Bruce as Batman, Ace sensed something was amiss and kept his distance. You can learn more about Azrael in our Azrael vs. Blade episode. Ace remained a quiet but consistent presence in Wayne Manor and the Batcave until his disappearance during the events of No Man's Land, when an earthquake devastated Gotham City. Years later, another Ace was introduced, a German Shepherd and former guide dog rescued by Bruce Wayne following his owner's death. The dog was never explicitly named Ace the Bat-Hound in continuity, but it maintained a similar role as a loyal companion. In post-Flashpoint continuity, Bruce bought an emotional support Great Dane named Titus for his son Damian, though Titus didn't partake in adventures much as he wasn't trained for it. It wouldn't be until several years later when Batman met a new, vicious Ace, a German Shepherd taken in as a puppy by the Joker after killing its owner, a man in witness protection who had witnessed one of Joker's murders. Unsure whether to keep or kill the pup, Joker pulled out a deck of cards to gamble its life. Joker drew the king, followed by an ace, meaning the dog got to live, and its name stuck with him. Ace became one of several dogs outfitted with playing card-themed masks and trained as attack dogs. Ace, forced to wear the Ace of Spades mask, became the pack leader. The Joker later abandoned the dogs in a pit, leading them to turn on each other out of desperation. Ace was the sole survivor when Batman and Commissioner Gordon discovered the scene. Initially considered irredeemable due to his aggression, Ace was taken in by Alfred Pennyworth after buying the animal shelter that initially refused to give Alfred the dog on account of the abuse it suffered and its aggressive tendencies. Over the course of months, Alfred trained Ace with care and persistence, despite the dog's frequent attempts to bite him. Alfred's determination eventually paid off, and Ace grew to trust him. Bruce Wayne, skeptical at first, argued to Alfred that some traumas are impossible to heal, though Bruce was eventually won over when Ace demonstrated loyalty and intelligence, becoming a trusted member of the Bat family. That Christmas, Bruce jokingly presented Ace with a bat-shaped mask, officially christening him Ace the Bat-Hound, and trained him as a tracker and rescue dog. Ace's loyalty, bravery, and intelligence were particularly evident during a mission involving enhanced animals being used for criminal activities. Ace, along with a group of other animals, including a speedster turtle, a pickpocket squirrel, a bear, and a cyborg chicken, worked together to dismantle a criminal operation run by Dr. Herbert Schwann, a corrupt veterinarian. Schwann had been capturing animals and using experimental treatments to transform them into living weapons for Gotham's underworld. Ace quickly emerged as the leader of the group, using his experience and training to organize a rescue effort for Batman. He guided the team through the defenses of the facility holding Batman, evading traps and confronting a dog trained specifically for Lex Luthor, named Lix Luthor, prior to Luthor realizing he had dog allergies. Along the way, Ace's leadership and resourcefulness earned the trust of his new allies, who followed his commands despite the casualties to rescue a captured Batman. Ace also played a pivotal role in mentoring Haley, also known as Bitewing, a three-legged dog under the care of Nightwing and Oracle. When Haley struggled to adjust to her new life and role, Ace offered guidance and support, helping her navigate the challenges of being part of a super pets team led by Crypto. Although Haley ultimately chose to forge her own path apart from the team, Ace's patience and wisdom left a lasting impression on her. And that's Ace the Bat-Hound. Abilities-wise, Ace the Bat-Hound possesses exceptional tracking and rescue abilities, having undergone rigorous training to assist Batman in crime fighting as well as search and rescue missions. As a highly intelligent and loyal German Shepherd, Ace is capable of understanding complex commands and responding to cues with precision, even in high-stress situations. His tactical vest is outfitted with a variety of tools and gadgets to aid in missions. These include miniature bat-shaped smoke pellets for creating distractions, a radio communicator for staying in contact with the Bat family, a small med kit for emergency first aid, a flashlight for low visibility environments, and a collapsible rope for search and rescue operations. Additionally, his vest features reinforced armor plating, providing Ace with protection in dangerous encounters. Ace's physical prowess includes enhanced speed, strength, and agility for a dog of his breed, making him adept at subduing criminals and navigating challenging terrain. His acute senses of smell and hearing allow him to detect explosives, track individuals, and alert Batman to potential threats. That's Ace the Bat-Hound.
The most recent version of Ace, his backstory, it went a little bit more hard than I thought it would, honestly. But it's a great origin story for a dog that would belong to Batman.
Yeah, actually, that storyline won an Eisner Award.
Really? Okay, yeah. I could totally see that. Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking stuff. But you love to see animals come through with owners who truly get them and care about them. And it seems like Batman does, considering he's also, a trauma survivor.
Exactly. Yeah, the whole notion that Batman was like, you can't heal this dog, he's gone through too much pain, was, of course, a direct analogy to Bruce's own pain, and Alfred recognized that. He wanted to prove Bruce wrong.
Is the League of Super Pets book a children's comic title, kind of in the same vein as Pet Avengers?
No, it's not an ongoing series. The times that the League of Super Pets have made appearances, they weren't always called the League of Super Pets. They just appeared like in backup Batman stories or, like their own one-off special issues.
Gotcha. Well, Dogpool's origin story beats that out of the water. In fact, it won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh my gosh.
Let me tell you about it. Wade Wilson, the dog, was born astray in the alternate dimension of Earth 103173. He lived his life on the streets as a happy, flea-ridden mongrel, barking all night and chewing up shoes he found. Eventually, however, he was rounded up and taken to a secret lab for experimental cosmetics testing. Evil scientists Dr. Von Braun and his assistant Igor worked under the Mascara X project, aiming to develop an eye mascara that could regenerate indefinitely. The pair submerged Wilson in an experimental chemical vat that painfully transformed the dog, leaving him horribly mutated, but granting him an extraordinary healing factor. Unaware of his newfound abilities, the scientists discarded Wilson as a failed experiment, placing him in a garbage bag and tossing him into a dumpster, leaving him to die. Wade's regenerative powers soon revived him, and he escaped the trash to wander the city for someone to love him. Shunned by everyone he encountered for his mangy appearance, Wade's despair led him to throw himself in front of a car, seeking to end his loneliness. However, Wade survived his attempt, and he was discovered by a group of circus clowns passing by who recognized his indestructible nature. They brought him to the circus, which exploited his abilities, branding him Deadpool the Daredevil Dog. They featured him in their death-defying acts, including shooting him out of a cannon, using him as target practice for the circus knife thrower, and having him leap through flaming hoops. People came from near and far to witness Wade's stunts, but despite his newfound fame, the constant cycle of death and revival weighed heavily on him. Wade questioned his reality, his purpose, and the true meaning of his seemingly cursed existence. Word of the immortal stunt dog eventually reached the cosmetic scientists who created him, Dr. Von Braun and Igor. Seeking to recapture their subject, they experimented on another dog, giving him adamantium claws and naming him Wolverine. Dog Wolverine confronted Wade at the circus, however Wade outsmarted his rival by launching him from the circus cannon. At this point, Deadpool of the primary Marvel Earth 616 appeared, recruiting Dogpool to join the Deadpool Corps, a band of mercenaries united to protect the multiverse. The team, which included Lady Deadpool, Kidpool, and Headpool, embarked on a series of wild and dangerous missions to safeguard reality, battling threats such as the Awareness, the Champion, and the Grandmaster. Despite the absurdity and peril of the Corps' adventures, Dogpool found a sense of belonging and family among his fellow mercenaries. He especially bonded with Kidpool, the child version of Deadpool. You can learn more about Deadpool in his duel against Deathstroke. However, tragedy stuck when an evil version of the Deadpool Corps, led by the murderous Dreadpool, began hunting and killing their counterparts across the multiverse. As part of the resistance against them, Dogpool journeyed to Earth 616 to warn its Deadpool of the impending danger. In a climactic confrontation between the good and evil Deadpool Corps, Dogpool sacrificed himself to save Deadpool by leaping in the way of a disintegration beam. His ultimate sacrifice left a lasting impact on Kidpool and the rest of the Corps, who went on to defeat the Dreadpool Corps in revenge. Though presumed dead, Dogpool's uncanny ability to survive seemingly anything led to his return, when he teamed up with Catpool and Mousepool to break the fourth wall and attack the Marvel Comics editorial team, convincing them to give the trio their own monthly Infinity Comics series. In his new adventures, Dogpool went on to kill mercenaries at his new farmhouse, steal and bury one of Deadpool's arm bones, pee in Cat Loki's litter box on Asgard, save Deadpool when he fell in a well, get drunk in Boston, and help Deadpool save Christmas. And that's his backstory. Powers-wise, Dogpool's main ability is to heal at an accelerated rate through his healing factor. This allows him to recover and regenerate from any wound he suffers, as well as make him immune to disease and toxins, and grant him increased stamina. He's highly agile, faster than your average human, approaching 50 miles per hour on foot, and is strong enough to easily bring down an enemy. He has sharp canine teeth and claws, and also typically carries an assortment of weapons and explosives in his suit, including a knife, sometimes a gun, and just a few grenades. And that's Dogpool.
Well, how does he use a gun?
I've never seen him use a gun in the comics. I'll say that.
He just carries it for like intimidation factor.
I guess so.
Yeah, actually, Ace doesn't use any of his weapons either, or gear. Essentially, it's just there for his teammates to use should they need it.
So he's like a pack mule.
Yeah, pretty much exactly.
I have seen Dogpool carry a knife in his mouth.
Well, I've seen Ace have batarangs in his mouth as well in the comics.
Really?
So there.
Playing fetch or something?
Yes.
That's pretty cute.
In a world where fantasies collide and heroes clash, one podcast network rises above the rest. Prepare yourself for the ultimate showdowns in comic books, video games, movies, and anime. The Dynamite Podcast Network presents Console Combat, where video game legends brawl every Monday. Dynamic Duel, where comic book titans smash every Tuesday. Max Destruction, where TV and action heroes battle every Wednesday. And Sendro World, where anime champions clash every Thursday. Join us as we speculate on the matches and, armed with the power of mathematical simulations, discover who will emerge victorious. Visit dynamicpodcast.com, where we settle the debate and settle the score.
Well, now that we got the dog's histories and abilities out of the way, let's speculate on how one of the 1,000 simulated matches will go, but in a dog show. The winner of the dog show will be determined by simulations, not our speculation, but it's fun to imagine how the dog show could play out. AJ9K, what are the rules of our speculation?
Well, I should say there are no rules, other than the characters have no prior knowledge of the other going into the show. All they are aware of starting out is that the other character is an opponent that needs to be outdone. For the speculation, the contestants will compete in a variety of events to showcase their skills.
All right, then, let's get into it. Ace the Bat-Hound and Dogpool meet in the arena. Who goes first?
Okay, I think Ace the Bat-Hound will go first in the first annual Dynamic Duel Kennel Club Dog Show. First off will be the Agility Trials, which feature a high-speed obstacle course that will test the dog's speed and evasiveness. For this challenge, the two will take turns chasing a fake rabbit down a track while avoiding cannon fire and maneuvering around lava pits.
Yeah, that's right. I must say, too, Ace looks quite statuesque as he's waiting for the starting signal. And there it is. Ace is off.
Oh, and he trips right out of the gate. Wah, wah.
What? Okay, well, like a true ninja in training, Ace comes out of the stumble with a quick tuck and roll, and he's back on his feet chasing after the rabbit, picking up momentum as he approaches the first turn.
And then a cannonball fires straight at him.
But without losing his stride, Ace ducks beneath the cannonball and is starting to close the gap as he comes upon the lava pit. And look at that, instead of chancing the leap, Ace runs alongside the fenced wall around the pit and gets to the other side unscathed. He's close to the rabbit now. It looks like he's about to snatch it. Oh! He got him with lightning speed. And wow, he is tearing that thing to shreds. Great performance overall, though. We'll see how Dogpool compares.
Okay, so Dogpool is at the track starting line. He's looking a little bit less statuesque as Ace did.
Yeah, probably because he's licking his asshole.
Yes, anyway, there's the starting signal, and Dogpool tears off like a rabid animal chasing that rabbit.
Oh, here comes the cannonball.
Except Dogpool leaps over the cannonball like in slow motion bullet time, Doggy Matrix style.
Oh, but it just barely clips his hind legs, causing him to cartwheel through the air.
Oh, and it looks like it knocked him across the field into the lava pit. That's not going to be good. All right, okay, so he's crawling out of the lava pit. I can see his spleen, but it looks like his healing factor is kicking in as he continues to chase the rabbit while on fire and with one leg still missing. What an inspiration, because he's got it. He's got the rabbit now.
Wait, what is he doing to the rabbit? Oh, he's humping it. He's really going at it.
That is not going to make the network censors happy, but let's see if it affects the judges' scores as Dogpool finishes up whatever he's doing.
This is Scotty Macho here, and I'm down here on the track, and we are checking our contestants for speed. The first one was Ace the Bat-Hound. Guy didn't have a good start, but he was able to snatch that thing up right away and ripped into pieces. A 7 for Ace. Now, Dogpool, he was able to grab that rabbit pretty quick, but then started humping it right away too. But, I mean, as ugly as that little thing is, he's still pretty quick. So we gave him a 7 too.
For the category of evasiveness, I'm gonna have to give Dogpool a 6 out of 7. I mean, that's pretty good, but he definitely did rely on his regenerative abilities more to help him, which is not bad. That's smart fighting. That's nothing wrong with that, to use your abilities to your advantage, such as that. As for Ace the Bat-Hound, I'm gonna have to give him a 7 out of 7. I mean, it clearly shows he was trained by Batman. Also not Batman, but he had the Bat family with him. So much more to be trained on than just one person supporting him in this role. So, 7 out of 7 for Bat-Hound. Back to you guys.
All right, next up is the Might and Resilience Challenge, a demonstration of strength and durability where dogs pull a weighted dummy from a burning, collapsing structure. Is this PETA approved? I'm going to say no.
All right, Dogpool goes first, and he's given the go-ahead as he races into the burning building to get at that dummy on the top floor. Now, we made sure to let the structure burn for a while, so it's literally falling apart during this trial.
All right, sure enough, as Dogpool is climbing that first set of stairs, they collapse on him. Oh, and a burning wooden shard just impaled one of Dogpool's limbs.
Again? Well, all right, the three-legged pooch, he's just an inspiration as he fights his way to the top to get at the dummy, and he starts dragging the dummy to safety by his leg. Now, these dummies weigh like 300 pounds, folks. They're like what we call hefty.
Or thick. The building is starting to fully come down around Dogpool. Can he drag the dummy out to safety in time?
Let's see. Oh, holy shit, he just leaped out of one of the windows, tossing the dummy out the window with him. But it looks like he's maneuvering himself beneath the dummy midair to use himself as a landing pad. And splat! Looks like the dummy is fine, and Dogpool, well, he doesn't look fine, but he's coming around, and at least he has all 4 of his legs back.
Yeah, they're just all going in different directions, though.
Overall, I'd call this a good showing for the Merc with the Bark.
Okay, now Ace is up. There's the signal, so there he goes, rushing into the building with zero hesitation, like a true hero.
And there go the stairs, they're crumbling beneath him. And he gets hit with some debris, it looks like.
Oh, but he shrugs it off and leaps onto the landing just in time. And he's located the dummy.
Well, why is he checking the dummy's vitals? Like, what is he doing? Does he have time for this? I don't think so.
Hey, man, there's always time for safety. But it looks like now that Ace is dragging the dummy up the next flight of stairs to the roof.
Why is he going upstairs? The structure's crumbling down at this point. What is he gonna do?
Well, it looks like he's wrapped a harness around the dummy and is now, he's scratching his neck? Oh no, he's actually triggered a grapple line from his collar. And now both he and the dummy are sliding down it to the ground below just as the structure collapses. Well done.
That dog is something else, man. Let's see what the judges have to say.
In the category of strength, we feel that each dog showed exemplary vigor and brawn in the event. Ace the Bat-Hound has clearly been trained by the Dark Knight in all manner of strength training exercises and has been fed a specialized diet for optimal muscularity. And though Dogpool has the appearance of a stray who eats mostly leftover chimichangas from the Del Taco dumpster and snorts too much cocaine, he seems to be able to compensate through his regenerative healing factor that keeps his body in good condition. We, the judges, award both dogs a 7 out of 7, a perfect score.
All right, Dustyn Balcom here with the results for the durability portion of our dog show today. And coming in with a perfect score of 7, we have Ace the Bat-Hound. Now, y'all might be wondering, what about Dogpool? He comes in with a 10. Why do we give him a 10? I mean, look, you could chop off his arm, it's going to grow back. Look at the healing factor on him. The durability is off the chart, so we have to give him an off-the-chart score.
Okay, the next event is a search and solve competition. It's a scavenger hunt style event that tests the dog's perception and intelligence as they navigate a labyrinth and avoid tasty distractions in order to locate the drugs that are hidden in the center of the maze.
And there's the signal. Ace rushes into the labyrinth, I expect nothing less from him by this point. Looks like he's sniffing around now, but has he caught the scent of the drugs?
Oh, look at that. Looks like Ace has walked right into a dead end. How unfortunate for that guy. And at the dead end, there's a plate full of meaty steaks there, cooked rare. Yummy.
Which Ace completely ignores. The dedication. Oh, what is he doing now? Look, he's digging under the wall. No dead end is gonna stop him from getting to his target.
Oh, but look, he stops digging for a second. He must detect the bitch in heat that was placed in the maze that's like right above him.
Oh, he's digging into his tactical vest now. What does he have in there? Oh, it's a gas mask muzzle. Wow, he must be confident in the location of the drugs by this point to use a tool like that to avoid the scent of romance and stick to his mission. And sure enough, he's dug right through the maze and is now beneath the drugs. He's found them and let out a victorious howl. Mission accomplished.
All right, now it's Dogpool's turn. So Dogpool rushes into the labyrinth, and he's using his skilled nose to try and locate the devil's lettuce that's hidden in this maze.
Which is a slang term for marijuana, kids. But, oh no, he stumbled upon a plate full of chimichangas, and he eats them all without even chewing, it looks like.
Yeah, it makes sense for the character, for sure.
But oh, we laced them with sleeping pills. That will cost him.
Except Dogpool's healing factor should help filter out that poison. So he's fine. He keeps going. It's fine.
Yeah, but it looks like he's moving away from the center towards the direction of the French poodle and heat. And he gives in to the temptation.
Okay, sure. But Dogpool's like really quick. Okay, he's like a 2-pump chump. And so he's like in and out, literally, and moves on. Finally approaching the bag of weed. And he finds it. What a champ. You know, his tail is wagging. He looks like a happy boy.
Yeah, maybe a little too happy, because he just straight up devoured the weed like the police are knocking on his door.
Well, let's see what the judges have to say.
And now moving on to the intelligence category, Ace is pretty much a genius. I mean, it's pretty hard to describe Ace as anything other than a genius. And unfortunately, Dogpool is just dumb. I can't really describe Dogpool any other way. As intelligence goes, Dogpool is probably even less intelligent than an actual dog. So sad. So this category goes to Ace the Bat-Hound, with a 7 to Dogpool's measly 1.
And next we have the perception event. It looks like Ace scores a perfect 7 due to his superior training, but Dogpool only gets a 3 because he passed the drug sniff test but got too high on marijuana. Unfortunate.
Next up is the Attack Skills Showcase, an action-packed challenge highlighting the dog's fighting skills and versatility, where they must each take down a squad of ninjas in a warehouse setting.
Yeah, Dogpool is going to go first, and it looks like he sees the group of ninjas enter his warehouse location, and he sees them circle around him.
Yeah, but as he turns to look at each one, he keeps turning and turning because he's chasing his own tail.
All right, so he's a little distracted at the outset, and one of the ninjas lunges at Dogpool with his bow staff. But, you know, getting conked on the rear with the staff is going to snap Dogpool out of chasing his tail, and he's no longer distracted, and he snarls and lunges back at the bow staff ninja, straight up ripping his crotch from his body.
Oh, shit. That guy was a volunteer. 1 down, 3 to go. The next ninja is wielding a pair of sais, and he stabs Dogpool.
Dude, what a dickhead. Attacking a dog like that? Deadpool straight up rips that guy's dick from his pants.
Again?
Yeah.
All right, Dogpool seems to be using a very specific fighting style to disable these opponents. I hope they already have children.
Yeah, the style is called Wing Chun.
Well, the third ninja runs at Dogpool with his nunchucks spinning around.
And then Dogpool throws a dagger right in the guy's nutsack.
A dagger?
Yeah, from his utility belt. And now the final ninja with swords. Looks like he's trying to actually run out of the arena. But Dogpool is going to grab the guy by the seat of his pants, just ripping him and pulling the last ninja to the ground. And then, oh my god, the guy just exploded.
What happened?
Looks like Dogpool must have dropped a grenade down the ninja's hole in his pants.
Wow, this battle felt very personal. Like a ninja must have been the one that neutered Dogpool back when he was a stray or something.
We can only assume, I guess.
Well, it's Ace's turn, and I have to say, I'm expecting a good show from him. The Bat family has trained for this exact scenario. The 4 ninjas surround Ace, and he's rolling over, and oh! The warehouse is now filled with smoke. He must have triggered a smoke capsule in his tactical vest.
Okay, looks like we're gonna have to switch to our infrared cameras. And it looks like the ninjas cannot see him through the smoke.
Oh, look, there he is, in the rafters.
How does a dog get in the rafters?
It looks like he's lowering a looped cable. The sword ninja doesn't appear to see he's walking right into the trap. Oh, there he goes. The ninja gets lifted into the air, hung up by his ankle, and dropping his swords.
It looks like the ninja with the sais heard the swords dropping to the floor, and he looks upward, and he throws one of his sais into the rafters at Ace.
And like any good boy playing fetch, Ace catches the sai in his jaws, and he spins it back around at the ninja. And look, it stuck him in that foot. That ninja will probably be pinned there for a while. Pretty painful.
Oh, but it looks like the smoke screen is starting to clear from the warehouse, so these guys are going to be able to see Ace now.
Oh, but where did Ace go? Oh, there he is behind the bow staff ninja. Did he just paw chop him in the neck? Wow, bow staff ninja's down with a nerve strike.
Oh, but look, Nunchuck Ninja spotted Ace, and he pounces on him, and now he has one of his nunchucks wrapped around Ace's neck.
Okay, well, it looks like Ace is pulling hard away from the ninja. You know, he's pretty strong for a dog. Oh, it looks like he was using the ninja's weight against him, pulling the ninja low to the ground, and setting him up for one tremendous headbutt. That ninja is seeing ninja stars right now. What a masterful performance from a doggy martial arts master if I've ever seen one.
Let's see what the judges say.
Wow, what a great showing for these 2 dogs in the fighting category. For this category, we were looking for how well these dogs would face off against each other. And Ace the Bat-Hound, just like his master, came in with great precision and didn't miss a beat. He scored a perfect 7, whereas his opponent, Dogpool, only scored a 6 because he was constantly getting distracted by his own tail. What a great show so far, and I cannot wait to see the rest of the results from the other categories.
When it comes to versatility, these dogs are collar and collar. Ace is the world's greatest dog detective, which means he has a variety of useful skills like sniffing, sneaking, snarling, and of course sleuthing. He also has a mean bite when needed, though he prefers not to use it because he is a very good boy. Dogpool, on the other hand, may appear to be a chaotic mess, but this is just because he's a real Jack Russell of all trades. Just kidding, he's a mutt. But he does do his own stunts because he can heal from just about anything. He also has knowledge on a variety of subjects due to all Deadpool's ability to break the fourth wall, giving them a certain sense of omniscience. In either case, both these canines exhibit just about any skill they need to get the job done, and for that reason, we are proud to award both of them a perfect 7 in versatility.
The last event is the Precision Range Test, a targeting competition testing range and damage potential, where the 2 dogs will use their unique abilities to accurately hit and/or destroy moving targets of various compositions.
Ace is going first in this final test, and it looks like his projectiles of choice are a collection of batarangs. Interesting. Picking up the first one, Ace is staring intently, waiting for the first targets to appear.
Can dogs really throw well enough for this event? I guess we'll see. The first clay targets get launched, and we're skeet shooting here. Skeet. Like a discus thrower, Ace spins around and hurls a volley of 3 batarangs. And bam, 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 1, 2, 3, all targets were shattered by Ace. Of course. All right, the next targets appear, and these guys look like dartboards swinging like pendulums. And the dartboards are wooden in composition.
All right, Ace is winding up, and there's the pitch.
Oh no, it looks like Ace missed one.
Wait. The one that missed is circling back around like a boomerang. Oh, Ace bullseyed the dartboard from behind. Look, the tip of the batarang is sticking through the board into the front side.
Where does this dog get his wonderful toys? That's what I want to know. The final round of targets are appearing now. They're human figures composed of ballistic gel so that we can get accurate damage analysis. But the figures are moving swiftly on a conveyor belt.
It looks like Ace is grabbing a different style of batarang. I wonder which kind. All right, Ace is taking aim. And wow, instead of spinning this time, he does a backflip. And look, he used 3 different types of batarangs. The first target is now melting from the electric shock it's receiving. The second one looks like a pincushion with sharp batarangs sticking out from its vital pressure points. And the third one is just frozen solid. What a solid way to wrap up his performance at this show.
What a show-off that dog is. But, Dogpool's ready to go now, and he didn't come to play.
The first targets are launched into the air.
All right, maybe he did come to play. Instead of hurling a projectile at the clay targets, Dogpool leaps into the air and snatches all 3 of the skeet discs. Maybe he thought this was a frisbee game or something, but he did crack the discs with his teeth. So maybe that will count with the judges?
What an idiot! It looks like the second round of targets are now swinging.
And Dogpool has a grenade in his mouth and he's wagging his tail. Looks like he sets the grenade down on the floor and he nudges it with his nose like he wants the targets to throw it for him? What? Oh wait, look, the grenade is rolling and it's rolling, it keeps rolling, and it blows up, destroying all 3 targets.
And Dogpool himself, that grenade shrapnel travels pretty far.
He'll walk it off.
All right, the final challenge. The ballistic gel torsos are moving down the conveyor belt.
And it looks like Deadpool pulls out. Oh my god, is that a rocket launcher?
And it's red! It's so big and red!
It's a red rocket launcher. I don't even know how Dogpool's gonna use it, but it looks like he's pressing the trigger with his paw. Kablooey! There goes all the targets and most of the arena itself.
Thank goodness we are behind this safety glass. That final round was intense.
Let's hear from our final judges.
In the category of range, we, the judges, have determined that both Ace the Bat-Hound and Dogpool have displayed considerable skill in their distance and marksmanship. However, while Ace showed exemplary skill in his ability to bullseye targets using batarangs, we feel that Dogpool's use of throwing grenades insufficiently demonstrated the same natural skill due to the weapon's large blast radius. That being said, Dogpool seems to have a gun pointed at me as I'm currently reading these results, so I'm going to award both dogs a perfect score of 7 out of 7.
Alright folks, the results are in. It would appear that both contestants, Ace the Bat-Hound and Dogpool, scored a perfect 7 in the damage category. But because Dogpool is pretty fugly and because his owner has my family held captive, we're going to award him 3 extra points, giving him the win.
Wow, Dogpool seems pretty desperate to me. Let's take the judges' scores and have our resident Monte Carlo simulator, AJ9K, analyze the data to determine who wins the inaugural Dynamic Duel Kennel Club Dog Show.
AJ9K, hit it.
Inputting data, running calculations, processing results, simulations complete.
Okay, so when we approached the stats for this matchup, we knew that Ace was basically going to have a perfect score in everything because he is the perfect dog, particularly when it would come to dog show style events.
Yeah, I don't think there's any sort of dog show out there that Ace the Bat-Hound would not utterly dominate. So we definitely approach the stats from a different angle this go around. It's not like your standard duel. Because speaking in dog terms, Ace the Bat-Hound is a perfect dog. So really the challenge came in seeing how Dogpool compares to the perfect dog in all of the stat categories. And there were some differences. Dogpool, as the judges said, got slightly lower in evasiveness because he knows that he has his healing factor to rely on. But he really outclassed Ace the Bat-Hound in durability, of course, because of his healing factor, and damage.
Yeah, Dogpool tends to be much more lethal than Ace, who follows the same code that his master does of being non-lethal.
Dogpool was less than exemplary compared to Ace, though, when it came to intelligence and perception, largely because the dog just isn't that smart. He's not the type of dog to follow commands, especially if you classify intelligence at a dog show through obedience training. How good are they at following commands? And Dogpool is just an agent of chaos.
Well, Joseph, taking all of these stats into consideration, who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think that Dogpool's durability and his lethality will put him over the edge here. Although Instagram does not agree with me, it looks like a lot of our followers are voting for Ace to win by 64% over Dogpool.
But let's find out who actually won. AJ9K, the results, please.
Here you are, sir.
The winner of the matchup between Ace the Bat-Hound and Dogpool is Ace the Bat-Hound.
What?
Yes, by a whopping 73.7% win rate compared to Dogpool's 26.3%, or 263 of the 1,000 matches.
How is that possible? The only way that could be is because we didn't score this like a typical duel. We scored it like a dog show. I think we should nix that whole idea and treat this like an actual dog fight. Because I straight up guarantee you that Dogpool rips Ace the Bat-Hound apart.
Okay, Michael Vick. That's what you want, huh?
No.
Look, the stats would be fairly comparable, even if we scored them slightly different. Dogpool would still come out ahead in terms of durability and still fall way behind in intellect. Sorry, Ace the Bat-Hound is just elite when it comes to dog stat categories.
Is that so? Well, oh no, it looks like Dogpool is breaking the fourth wall and beating the shit out of Ace the Bat-Hound. Looks like we got our dogfight after all.
Yeah, if Dogpool can even touch Ace with his stealthiness and superior martial arts skills.
Oh, he'll touch Ace. He'll touch him wherever he wants to.
Oh, no.
That's right, Dogpool's establishing dominance.
Wow.
But that does it for this duel, guys. AJ9K, help close us out.
Thanks for listening to Dynamic Duel. Visit the show's website at dynamicduel.com and follow us on Instagram at Dynamic Duel Podcast. You can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/dynamicduel and joining a tier that works for you, or by rating and reviewing Dynamic Duel on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, or on our website. Don't forget to listen to the other shows in the Dynamite Podcast Network, including Max Destruction, Senjo World, and Console Combat.
Our next episode will be the 2024 Brothers Awards, our annual award show where we review everything Marvel and DC put out in the previous year.
But that does it for this episode. We want to give a big thanks to our executive producers, Ken Johnson,
John Starosky,
Zachary Hepburn,
Dustyn Balcom,
Miggy Matanguihan,
Brandon Estergard,
Nathaniel Wagner,
Levi Yeaton,
Austin Wesolowski,
AJ Dunkerley,
Scott Camacho,
Gil Camacho,
Adam Speas,
Andrew Schunk,
Dean Maleski,
Devin Davis,
Joseph Kersting,
Josh Leiner,
Mike Williams,
and Oscar Galvez for helping make this podcast possible. We'll talk to you guys next week. Up, and away!
True believers.
Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost a wheel when the Joker got away. Hey,